Hello everyone. So in this video we'll look at the idea of variable acceleration in case of the one dimension motion. Now in variable acceleration obviously we will not be able to use the equations of motion. The v is equal to u plus at, s is equal to ut plus half at square, v square is equal to u square plus 2as. All these equations of motion that we have used in case of constant acceleration, right? Those equations we will not be able to use to solve the motion of the particle. So if the acceleration is variable, then definitely we will be having either differential relations or integration based relations. So we'll see how we'll use these differential relations or the integration relations. But in this case, what we need to keep in mind is the relations, right? It will be for the instantaneous quantity. So we'll talk about what is the relation between the instantaneous velocity, instantaneous acceleration, and what is the displacement till that point of time. So all these relations we'll be able to get by using either the differential equation approach or the integral equation approach. We'll see, how these equations will be used. First, we'll begin with the differential equations. So instantaneous velocity will be defined as what? Rate of change of the displacement for a very short interval of time. That is what we call as the differential time element dt. So the ds by dt will give us what? The instantaneous velocity. Now if we assume that the motion is along the x-axis, then the position of the particle can be represented by the x coordinate of the particle. So we can even express the instantaneous velocity as the rate at which the x coordinate of the particle changes or the position of the particle changes. Now here we'll have a little bit of a confusion whether we should take the relation in terms of the displacement or we should take the relation in terms of the position. Now what we need to understand is displacement rate will be equal to position at a given time minus the position at the starting time. That is what we can call as x naught. So if you go for the derivative on both sides, right, what we will get? Left hand side will have ds by dt is equal to, right hand side is what? Derivative of x minus x naught. Here x naught is a constant, so derivative of x minus that derivative of x naught. So derivative of x naught is anyway 0, that is a constant. So we'll have what? Dx by dt. So whether we talk about the rate of change of displacement or we talk about the rate of change of position in terms of the x coordinate, both will give us the same result. Okay, so here while we are saying that dx by dt, we are assuming that the particle is moving along the x-axis. If it is moving along the y-axis, means we would be getting dy by dt like that. Okay, so this is the way in which we will be able to relate the position of the particle with the instantaneous velocity. So generally we will be given the function for the position. Generally when you look at the questions, right, we will be given the position for the function, and if you want to find out the displacement, right, obviously displacement will be equal to what? X minus x naught, position at a given time minus position at the starting time, that is the t is equal to 0. That will give us the displacement. Okay, the other one is the instantaneous acceleration will be given by the rate of change of velocity, again for a very small interval of time, that is the differential time element. Okay, so if we have the velocity function, so if we know the velocity function, right, by taking a derivative of the velocity function we can find the acceleration. Just like, if you have a position function, means taking a derivative we will get the instantaneous velocity. Take the derivative of the velocity function, we will get the instantaneous acceleration. So if you look at it, right, this can be also expressed as what? D by dt of velocity is what? Dx by dt. Okay, so this is what we will write as the double derivative or second derivative. So if you have a position function, you take a second derivative. Second derivative means what? Take the derivative 2 times, then straight away we will get the instantaneous acceleration function. Okay, so this is the way the instantaneous acceleration is related to the velocity function, and instantaneous velocity is related to the position function. Okay, Sometimes if you look at these differential equations, right, they are with respect to time. Sometimes we'll also have a scenario where we will have to relate them without using the time. So how we'll relate them, we'll see. Okay, so look at this. A is equal to what we are saying, dv by dt. A is equal to what, dv by dt. So we can write it like this, dv by ds into ds by dt. So this is a property of the derivative. Like say you have dv by ds into ds by dt. So the overall value of this will be equal to what, dv by dt. It is like, cancelling these two. We discussed about this in the basic math techniques. So the dv by dt can be also written as what, dv by ds into ds by dt. But what is this ds by dt? The ds by dt is what, the velocity function, right? So we have a is equal to what, dv by ds into v. If you rearrange them, means what we'll get, if you rearrange them, means v dv is equal to a ds. So this is the differential relation without the involvement of the time factor. Okay, so v dv is equal to what, a ds. Next we'll go into the relations based on the integration. So how do we get these relations? So you have a differential relation, we apply integration on both sides, then we will be able to get the integration based equation. So what are the integration based equations we have? We'll just go one by one. So we know that the instantaneous velocity is equal to what, ds by dt. If you cross multiply, v dt is equal to what, ds. Now integrate. Integral ds means what, we all add all these small integration means addition only, right? Add all these small displacements, we'll get what, the overall displacement, yes, will be equal to what, integral v dt. So if we take the limits of integration t1 to t2, the integration of v into dt, we have velocity function, we integrate this with time, then we will be able to get the overall displacement. That is one integration relation. Then we know that the instantaneous acceleration is equal to what, dv by dt. Again we cross multiply, a dt is equal to what, dv. We integrate on both sides. So integral dv means what, so dv is what, the variable here, left hand side the variable is in terms of the time, t1 to t2. Okay, so look at this, integral dv will be what, we have to substitute the limits. So what is it going to give us? It will be giving us final limit value v2 minus initial limit value v1. We can even say it as what, v final minus v initial, like that. So integral of a dt between the time limits, right, t1 to t2 will be giving us the overall change in the velocity, which is final velocity minus initial velocity. So just what we are doing, we are taking those differential equations and just rearranging them and then applying the integration. So if you have the acceleration function, we integrate a dt, time is the variable here. Okay, so that will give us what is the change in the velocity, final velocity value minus initial velocity. Then we have one more differential equation that is not involving the time factor, correct? So what is it? Already we have seen v dv is equal to a ds. Here also we can integrate on both sides. Left hand side, the integration limits are with respect to the velocity v1 to v2. Right hand side, the integration limits are with respect to displacement or position. So either we can say ds or we can say dx. Okay, so it will be what, x0 to x, or we can say x1 to x2. So initial position to final position. So this is how we'll have the integration equation. So you have the velocity function, integrate this with respect to time, we'll get overall displacement. You have acceleration function, integrate with respect to time, we'll get the overall change in velocity. The third one is the integration relation without involving time. So this is also important, especially for the even JEE mains level as well as the advanced level, right? We do get questions based on this particular type of integration. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll just go through some sample questions to see how these results will be actually used. Let us begin with this question. Velocity time equation. So they are giving us the velocity function of a particle moving in a straight line. they are giving us the function. What is the function for the velocity? 10 plus 2t plus 3t square. Find displacement of the particle from t is equal to 0 to t is equal to 1 second. So how do we get it? It is a straight relation, right? Just now only we saw. What is it? The overall displacement is equal to what? Integral t1 to t2 v dt. That is it, right? So integral 0 to 1. Velocity function is what? 10 plus 2t plus 3t square into dt. So we can split the integration. Integral 0 to 1 10 dt plus integral 0 to 1 2t dt plus integral 0 to 1 3t square dt. So 10 is a constant, comes out. Integral dt means what? Time. Final limit is 1, initial limit is 0. Integral 2t dt is what? T square, because if we take a derivative of t square means we'll get what? 2t dt, right? So this will be what? T square, but we have to substitute the limits. Look at this. Integral 3t square, that is what? T cube. This also we have to substitute the limits. Look at this. 10 plus t square, limits we have to substitute, right? 1 square minus 0 square, that is also 1. Here t cube, we have to substitute the limits. 1 cube minus 0 cube, that is also 1. Totally what do we get? 12. Since the velocity function is in terms of SI unit and time is in second, right? The overall displacement is going to come in the SI unit, which is meters. So what will be the answer for this question? It will be 12 meters. So while solving these integration based questions, right, we need to keep in mind the standard integration results. What is it? Integral x power n dx will be equal to what? X power n plus 1 by n plus 1. That is 1. And integral 1 by x dx will be ln x. Even the trigonometric ratios based integrations also we need to keep a note of it. Okay. So what are those trigonometric ratio based integrations? If you have like integral cos x dx, right, that will be equal to what? Sin x, because if you take a derivative of sin x means it will give us cos x. Then integral sin x dx will be minus cos x. Why? Because the derivative of the cos function will be minus sin. Okay, so these all these things you can probably look at the basic math video on integration and differentiation, so that you will be able to get an idea of it. Next we have a question where they are giving us the position time equation. So we can see the x coordinate of the particle is given. So the particle is moving along the x-axis. The x coordinate is in terms of the SI unit, means they are talking in terms of meters. Find the position and the velocity of the particle at t is equal to 0. So position we have to find at t is equal to 0 means let us call it as x naught. What is it? Just we have to substitute t is equal to 0. Substitute t is equal to 0, we'll get what? 20 plus 0 cube minus 12 into 0. So totally what is it? 20 meters. That's it. They're also asking what is the velocity of the particle t is equal to 0, right? Means first we need to get the velocity function. How do you get the velocity function? We have to take a derivative. Derivative of the position. What is it? 20 plus t cube minus 12t. If you take a derivative means what we'll get? We'll split the derivative. So derivative of 20 plus derivative of t cube minus derivative of 12t. Derivative of 20 means constant 0. Derivative of t cube is what? 3t square. Here 12 is a constant, comes out. Derivative of t will be what? 1. So what is it? 3t square minus 12. That is the velocity function. So they're asking us what is the velocity at t is equal to 0, right? Means put t is equal to 0. We'll get what? Let us call it as v naught. V naught will be minus 12. Since everything is in the SI system of unit, it will be what? In terms of SI unit, which is meter per second. So what is the significance of the minus? Minus basically indicates the sign convention. Okay. If you consider the positive x-axis to be the plus direction, the minus indicates what? Negative x-axis. Okay. Now the second part of the question. Second part of the question, they're asking find the position of the particle when the velocity of the particle becomes 0. What is the velocity function? The velocity function is what? 3t square minus 12. when it becomes 0, we have to equate it to 0, right? Equate it to 0, then what we'll get? 3t square is equal to 12, means t square is equal to 4. From here we'll get t will be equal to plus or minus 2, correct? But mathematically both t is equal to plus 2 as well as t is equal to minus 2, both are possible. But in physics we have a constraint. What is it? Time cannot be negative for us. So which means we will go with t is equal to 2 seconds. At that time we have to find the position of the particle, means look at the position function. In that we have to substitute t is equal to, so 20 plus t cube means what? 2 cube, that is 8, minus 12 into 2. Okay, what is this? 20 plus 8 is what? 28. 12 twos are what? 24. What is it? 4 meters. That is the position of the particle at t is equal to 2 seconds. That is when the velocity of the particle is becoming 0. Okay. Next we'll go to another question. A particle is moving with a velocity. They are giving us the velocity function. What is the velocity function? 3 plus 60 plus 90 square. This is in terms of centimeter per second. Find the acceleration of the particle at t is equal to 3 seconds. So we'll solve the first part. Acceleration means what? We have to take a derivative of the given function. 3 plus 60 plus 90 square, right? What is it? We can split the derivative. So derivative of 3 plus derivative of 60 plus derivative of 90 square. Derivative of 3 is what? 0, because it is a constant. Derivative of 60 means what? 6 comes out. Derivative of t will be 1. Here derivative of 9 comes out, constant. Derivative of t square means what? 2t. So what is it? It will be what? This is 9 2s are 18. So 18t plus 6. That is the acceleration function. They are asking us what is the acceleration at t is equal to 3 seconds, right? Means put t is equal to 3. If you put t is equal to 3 here, what we'll get? 18 3s are 54 plus 6, that is what? 60. The unit is going to be what? Since the velocity is in centimeter per second and time is taken in terms of seconds, it will be what? Centimeter per second square. So first part, what is it? Acceleration will be equal to what? 60 centimeter per second square will come. That is the first part. Now we have the second part. Second part is what? The displacement of the particle in the interval t is equal to 5 seconds to t is equal to 8 seconds. Means in that interval of t is equal to 5 to t is equal to 8, we have to find what is the overall displacement. What is the overall displacement relation? It will be based on the integration equation, right? So the overall displacement is equal to what? Integral v dt between the limits 5 to 8. 5 to 8. What is the velocity function? 3 plus 60 plus 90 square dt. Again here we will split the integration. Integral 5 to 8 3 dt. Integral 5 to 8 60 dt. Then integral 5 to 8 90 square dt. Okay. So integral 3 dt means 3 will come out. 3 if it comes out, because 3 is a constant, right? So maybe we'll erase some space so that we can write the calculation part. Okay. So here 3 comes out. The remaining integral dt means what? T. So 3 into t, we have to substitute the limits. Here 60 dt. So here if you look at it, right, 6 common comes out because it is a constant. Integral t dt will be what? T square by 2. That also we have to substitute the limits. Okay. Then here 9 comes out. It's a constant. Integral t square dt will be what? T cube by 3. We have to substitute the limits. So look at this, what we'll have? 3 into final limit value 8 minus 5 plus 6 into 8 square minus 5 square by 2 plus 9 into 8 cube minus 5 cube by 3. So we'll have to do some amount of simplification here. 8 minus 5 is what? 3, right? 3 into 3 is a 9. Plus here we can see 2 1s are 2 3s are 3 into 8 square is what? 64 minus 5 square is what? 25. Okay, so what is this? 64 minus 25 is what? 39. So 64, because 25 plus 39 is what? 64, right? So this will be 39. It's not divided by the subtraction value will give us what? 39. The last part you can see 3 1s are 3 3s are. So 3 into 8 cube. See, 8 square is 64, right? 8 cube means will be what? It will be 64 into 8. That will be what? 8 4s are 32. 8 6 are 48. Means it will be what? 512. So 512 minus 5 cube means what? 5 square is 25. 25 into 5 is what? It will be 125. So 512 minus 125. This also we have to simplify. So look at this. If you subtract means what we'll get. So here it will involve little bit of the addition subtraction part. Then we will be able to get the answer. Check it, what do we have? This is what? 9 plus 3 into 39. What is 3 into 39? 39 into 3, right? 9 3s are 27. 2 3 3s are 9. 117. 9 plus 117. So here 512 minus 125. It will be what? From 7 will come, and then here it will be 8. Then there will be 3. So 387. 387 plus 125 will be what? 512. Okay. So 3 is there. 3 into 387 means what? 387 into 3. That is what? 7 3s are 21. 3 8s are 24 plus 6. 26. 3 3s are 9. 1161. 1161 plus 9 is what? 1170. Okay. So 1170 plus 117, that is what? 7 8 1287. So the displacement is what? 1287. Remember, the unit will be what in terms of centimeters. We can say 1287 centimeters or 12.87 meters, whichever it is. So here it does involve a little bit of those final calculation steps. If you are quick in terms of these basic math means, you will be able to get the answer fast. That is it. So in this question, what we are able to see, to get the acceleration we are using the differential equation. To get the displacement we are using the integration equation. Next we have a question where we are given the acceleration function. A point initially at rest moves along the x-axis. So initially at rest means what? The initial velocity is 0. Okay, it is moving along the x-axis. Its acceleration varies as time. They're giving us acceleration function. If it is starting from origin means the initial position will be 0. The distance covered in 2 seconds. Here we have to be careful. What is it? When you want to look at the motion in a straight line, the distance covered need not be equal to the displacement magnitude. Why? Because when there is a change in direction, right, the displacement magnitude will be different from the distance covered. But here if you look at it, right, acceleration is equal to what? 60 plus 5. So acceleration keeps on increasing with time. This is not a case of deceleration. When the change in direction comes, when it is the case of the deceleration, correct? So it is not a case of deceleration. So the particle keeps moving along the positive x direction. So here we can say that the distance covered will be equal to what? Displacement magnitude. But how do we get the displacement magnitude? Because from acceleration, look at this. Change in velocity will be what? Integral a dt. Here starting time is 0, final time is t. Change in velocity means what? Final velocity minus initial velocity is v0. v0 already we have 0. So if you integrate a dt between that 0 to a time t, that will give us what? The velocity function. If we integrate the velocity with respect to time, that will give us what? The overall displacement, correct? So integral v dt will be what? Overall displacement. So first what we are going to do is we will get the velocity function. First we will get what is the velocity function. Okay, so how do we get the velocity function? We have to integrate the acceleration between the time limit 0 to t. So the velocity will be equal to what? Integral 0 to t a dt means what? A is what? 60 plus 5 dt. So this is what? Integral 0 to t 60 dt plus integral 0 to t 5 dt. This is what? 6 comes out. Integral t dt means t square by 2. That is what? T square by 2 minus 0 square by 2. Limits we have to substitute. 5 comes out. Integral dt means t. Final limit is t, initial limit is 0. So what we will get? 2 1s are, 2 3s are. So we will get the velocity function. What is it? 3t square plus 5t. That is the velocity function. Now this function when we integrate, right? What is integral v dt? Integral v dt will give us the overall displacement, right? That is what they're asking. What they're asking? The distance covered in 2 seconds means, because it is a straight line motion without changing direction, right? So distance covered will be equal to what? Displacement magnitude. So what we'll have, if you take the velocity function, what is the velocity function? 3t square plus 5t. Integrate it between, what are the limits? Starting time is 0. You have to find the distance covered up to 2 seconds, right? Means up to 2 we have to integrate. That will give us a displacement magnitude. 0 to 2, velocity function is what? 3t square plus 5t dt. So integral 0 to 2 3t square dt plus integral 0 to 2 5t dt. So integral 3t square means that will be t cube. Okay, limits we have to substitute 0 to 2. Integral 5t dt means 5 will come out. Integral t dt will be what? T square by 2. Here also we have to substitute the limits. So this is what? 2 cube minus 0 cube. Okay, plus 5 by 2 into 2 square minus 0 square. This is what? The overall displacement in 2 seconds will be what? 2 cube minus 0 cube means 8. Plus this is what? 5 by 2 into 4. That is what? 5 by 2 into 4 means that is 10. Since everything is in terms of SI unit, right? The value of the displacement magnitude, that is also equal to what? Distance covered. That will be what? 18 meters. So what is the answer for this? It is option B. Okay, so in this question what we are doing? We are given the acceleration function. We are taking an integration of it. That will give us the velocity function. Between the given time limits, if you integrate the velocity function means we will get the overall displacement. Okay. Next, sometimes, right, like any general function discussion case, we can also have questions where they will ask us to talk about the maxima minimum. So like whenever a function, like we have a function y which is depending upon the variable x, whenever the function is approaching the maximum value, you can see this is the maximum or the minimum. The slope of the tangent to the curve, that will become what? 0, which means dy by dx value will be what? 0. Whether we are reaching the maximum point or the minimum point, the slope of the tangent drawn to the curve will be what? 0. Okay, but how do we conclude which is the maximum location, which is the minimum location? That we will be able to conclude by using the second derivative, d square y by dx square. This is also what we call as the second derivative. So second derivative will help us to identify which is the maximum position, which is the minimum position. So how the second derivative will actually help us identify whenever the function is reaching the maximum, right? The slope of the tangent, if you try to look at the slope of the tangent or what is happening to the slope of the tangent, we can see here if you draw a tangent means it will be like this. Here if you draw a tangent means it will be like this. So what we see is that the dy by dx value, right, it keeps decreasing. Whereas when you talk about the reaching of the minima, so we see here these lines, right, if you draw tangent here means the lines over here will have a negative slope. Finally, when you come to the minima, the slope is becoming 0, right? So here what we see is that the dy by dx value will be actually increasing. So when you are reaching the maxima, the slope of the tangent value will decrease. When you reach the minima, slope of the tangent value will be increasing. So accordingly, what we'll have, the derivative of the slope means you take a derivative of the slope itself. Slope is what? dy by dx. If you take a derivative of the slope for maxima, right, that will be negative because the slope value will be what? Decreasing. Whereas when it comes to the minima, this is what it is, right? So for the minima, if you take a derivative of the slope, that is what will be the second derivative. So the slope is increasing, right? So the derivative of that will be positive. So when we want to identify the maxima location, right, or the minima, first condition is same for both of them. What is it? The dy by dx value will be 0. But how do we differentiate between the maxima and minima? Second derivative is a negative. Means while approaching the maxima, slope of the tangent will keep decreasing. That's why second derivative will be what? Negative at the maximum location. Minimum location, second derivative will be positive. Why? Because slope will keep on increasing while we are approaching the minima point. That is how we will differentiate between maximum and minimum. Sometimes in basic math videos we already talked about it, like we can have dy by dx 0 and second derivative also 0, means d square y by dx square also will be 0. They will be usually what? The constant functions. So dy by dx is equal to 0. That is the basic condition to check whether we are reaching the maxima or minima. If the second derivative is negative, means what? We are reaching the maxima point. Second derivative is positive, means we are reaching the minima point. But if the second derivative is also 0, that means what? It will be a constant function. We will neither have a maxima nor have a minima. Like say for example, take this, right, y is equal to 4 is a function. It's a constant function. Take the first derivative 0, second derivative, that is also 0. Okay, so we'll neither have a maxima nor have a minima there. Already we talked about these cases in the basic math videos. Maybe you can check that once. But here coming to our discussion point, right, we can have questions like this. The velocity in meter per second they are giving of a particle moving along the x-axis, that is given as a function of time. Find the maximum or minimum possible velocity value. Okay, so how do we know? We'll first have to take this is like what? Velocity is a function of time, like y is a function of x, right? Like that, velocity is a function of time. First we have to take the derivative, means derivative of 10 plus 5t minus t square. When we are reaching the maximum or minimum, the derivative value of the function with respect to the variable will be what? 0. So take the derivative of 10 is what? 0, plus derivative of 5t means 5. Derivative of t square will be what? 2t. So if you're equating it to 0 means what? 5 will be equal to 2t. From here we will get 5 by 2 is equal to t. So what is the time where we'll have the derivative to become equal to 0? The derivative is becoming equal to 0 when t is equal to what? 5 by 2. That is when the derivative is becoming equal to 0. Okay. Now we have to also confirm whether this is the maximum or minimum. For that, what we need to do? Look at the first derivative function, right? What is the first derivative function? If you take a first derivative, means before we equate it to 0, right, what do we have? 5 minus 2t, that is the first derivative. If you take a derivative one more time, okay, so derivative of 5 minus 2t, what is the derivative of 5 is 0. Derivative of minus 2t will be minus 2. So what is second derivative coming as? Second derivative is coming as what? Negative. Remember what is the condition we talked about? First derivative 0, second derivative negative, means what? That corresponds to the maximum. So the velocity function is going to have a maximum value. The velocity function is going to maximum value when t is equal to 5 by 2. When it have a maximum value when t is equal to 5 by 2. See, understand the question what they're asking. They're asking find the value they're asking. So we now know that at t is equal to 5 by 2, the velocity is going to have a maximum value. Now we'll just find out what is that maximum value of the velocity. Okay, so what is the maximum value of velocity? V is equal to 10 plus 5 into t. T is what? 5 by 2 minus 5 by 2 the square. Just we have to substitute t is equal to 5 by 2. So 10 plus 25 by 2 minus 25 by 4. We'll take an LCM. LCM is what? 4. Then it will be what? 40 plus 50 minus 25. That is what? 40 plus 50 is what? 90. 90 minus 25 will be? It will be what? 65. So 65 by 4. That is what is the maximum velocity possible for the particle. So like this we can expect questions on the maxima and minima. Okay, so we need to understand the maxima minima criteria. That's it. If you are clear with the criteria, means we can answer these questions. So this is what we need to learn in terms of the variable acceleration scenario. Okay, we'll see in the next video.